Hallo, herzlich willkommen zurück zur neuen Folge von Vampyr. Im letzten Part sind wir hier im Whitechapel ein bisschen rumgestrifft, nachdem wir nicht Einlass gewährt wurden. Bei der Apotheke da. Ich habe gerade den Namen vergessen. Und haben hier eine Problemfamilie gefunden, beziehungsweise
You never lose your focus, do you?
einen ehemaligen Freund von denen.
Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I've known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
Ja, wir haben ja schon ein paar Antworten oder ein paar Informationen erfahren.
Without making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems so fragile, not like his father at all.
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to grow a pair.
What troubles him exactly?
Well, despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more than most of us.
Ja, so viel wissen wir auch schon.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Den könnte ich noch mit gegen Erschöpfung basteln. Na gut, die sollen ja den Journalisten und den Dichter noch befragen.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
The wars of men should not be your main concern. The disease of...
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Ja, das ist schwierig.
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Ne, wird uns hoffentlich noch helfen können.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
Okay, zum Glück ist gerade nicht viel
He
klar.
has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out.
No, a few days ago he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Okay. Ist ein bisschen merkwürdig.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Okay. Hätte ich hier nicht
So you're not
getroffen.
exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Alles klar.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Okay. Haben wir noch mehr Informationen rausgekitzelt?
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition.
Okay, da gibt es sogar noch mehr herauszufinden. Und das ist nicht ausgegraut.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Natürlich.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Okay, dann haben wir noch hier einen Briefkasten, wo in dem Bericht gehört hat, wo man dann nur fand. Und hier ist sogar noch eine andere Person.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothy RK100. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Ja, jetzt ist nämlich sehr Namen.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Ja, kann ich mir vorstellen.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Ja, das war auf jeden Fall ein bisschen viel
Tell me
Information.
about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern, Doctor.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Gibt immer irgendwelche Gründe. Zumindest gibt man immer irgendwelche Gründe vor, die, wie gesagt, alle Mittel heiligen. Hier nicht irgendwo der Briefkasten? Blumenstrauß. Ein kleiner Blumenstrauß. Ein Gutschein für eine kostenlose medizinische Untersuchung ist zwischen den Blumen versteckt.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever.
Ja, okay.
Very well. Goodbye then.
Hat's auch erwartet. Okay. Wir sehen hier irgendwo den Briefkasten. Okay. Das Petreschkos Brief. Meine lieben Kinder, es tut mir so leid, dass ihr einige Monate lang nicht von mir gehört habt. Die Lage in London war schwierig. Ich weiß, es klingt vielleicht egoistisch und töricht, wenn ihr meine Kinder noch in einem Land lebt, das vom Krieg heimgesucht wird. Aber auch hier in London tobt ein Krieg. Ein Krieg gegen Armut und Ungerechtigkeit. Diesen Krieg will ich trotz meines fortgeschrittenen Alters führen. Und deshalb schreibe ich euch heute. Ich werde nicht nach Rumänien zurückkehren. Das bedeutet, ich sehe euch. Wahrscheinlich nie wieder. Und bevor ich sterbe, seid nicht traurig, meine Lieben. Ihr seid mittlerweile erwachsen. Und habt selbst Kinder. Ihr wisst, solche Opfer in manchen bringen müssen, um diese Welt zu einem besseren Ort zu machen. Und die müsst ihr nun bringen, damit ich mir noch ein letztes Mal nützlich kann. Ich wünsche euch ein langes und glückliches Leben. Gebt meinen Enkel einen Kuss von mir und vergesst nicht, dass eure Vater euch weit ab der kalten Heimat liebt. Aber euch ewig liebender Vater, Darius Petrescu.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.
Okay. Das wäre auch was in dem Brief stand. Dann bleibt nur noch der Dichter übrig, der hier hinter der Kirche sein sollte. Wie komme ich jetzt die Kirche? Okay. Sehr komisch, hat sehr viele Ecken, die alle abgezogen sind. Aber nicht weiterkommt. Auch ein bisschen zu einfach gewesen wahrscheinlich. Hier ist auch nicht mehr offen. War hier vielleicht nach hinten? Ja, hier komme ich nach hinten. Ah, ne. Ich wollte gerade sagen, das ist kein gutes Geräusch. Okay. Klingt doch relativ gut. Allerdings, wenn die hier hinten sind, glaube ich nicht, dass der noch am Leben ist, der Dichter. Ganz ehrlich. Na gut, bevor wir jetzt hier weitermachen, werde ich den Part an der Stelle auch schon beenden. Ich danke euch fürs Zusehen. Lasst eine Bewertung da, was euch gefallen hat. Wenn nicht, das sollte, könnt ihr gerne ein Abo da lassen. Und ich hoffe, wir sehen uns in der nächsten Folge von Vampyr Video.